You know Power BI, but still you have lots of questions in your mind. How does it happen? Why it happens? How can I do that? This is the series for you. Subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon to get the notifications. Hello and welcome to another video of abstract thesis series, and in today's video we are going to discuss how can we create P&L or balance sheets, and the kind of output we want is basically to have something like this, which is having spaces in between, which is having the totals which is inside the category, not the total which is coming because of uh, the subcategory or the category columns. Like in this way, the total is here, then there is another total here, there's another total here, and then there is a profit before tax and then profit after tax. Similarly, even in the when we are displaying the table visual, you can see that we have the totals here. We are not displaying the names of the category here, and then we are again having the display here. Now some of these display doesn't have additional heading, like operating profit doesn't have an additional heading of operating profit, but you can see BBT is lying under the operating profit, not the operating profit. Okay, so these kind of things are there, which kind of statement is there. This statement is just a representative of the data, it's not the actual data, so some calculations might be different from what you are doing in the financial world, but the objective of this video is basically to tell you how you can create these kind of statement. Now this is very similar thing which I am doing using the extended dimension for our star schema. You might have seen that approach when I've shown you the grand total video, and when I've shown you the video where we talked about how to show the excluded values as others. So those all videos take advantage of these extended dimension, and then same extended dimension concept we are going to have here. But now the extended dimension here is little bit complex than what we can think about it, and we need to take care of whatever we are seeing here in that dimension, and we need to create a few set of measures. And in another video we would like to see, can we split it like this or like this. First, this one is a table visual, this one is a matrix visual. So in this video we will try to have this. Now to do that, let's understand the data, what kind of data we have. So I have this data basically which I wanted to see, and again this is Excel representation of the similar kind of data. So basically where we have accounts, we have values of the years, and then we wanted to represent it into the Power BI. So similar kind of structure we want in Power BI, but the actual data looks like this. I have given the name to that sheet as GL. That's what we are going to have. So you can see I have this account 1 to 10 where and these are my accounts basically coming from my account dimension, and the names are here. Ideally speaking, these names would not be there, just for making it more clearer I'm having names here, and then I have amount, and then I have year. Okay, and these are my accounts which I'm dealing with, which need to be presented in that one. Now I have an account dimension also which talks about all these 10 accounts only. So now what you see here is basically, if you look at it, there are few dimension accounts which are missing, like this account is not available. Similarly, these accounts which are calculations are not available there. Now profit before tax, profit after tax, there is no account like that. So what I went here is I went ahead and created this table. Now first, initially when I created, I just replicated the 10 account. Then I started adding these new accounts. And it is really important then when I add these new accounts, I give them the account number. And the reason you see a very high number here, and then you also see that I have jumped around the CDs while giving these number, so that you can give additional numbers. That's the one thing. And the reason is, without having all these account IDs present here, if I try to do sorting of these accounts, then it might create a problem. So all these account IDs need to have account ID. So that is why I am keeping the original IDs, and plus additionally creating some new ID in this series. And I have done this work in Excel, that can be done at your source database, as well as this can be done in Power BI in Power Query. But just to showcase you how how challenging it could be creating such a table, I just done it in the Excel. Now what I have done here is basically, whatever accounts I have additionally here, these are my additional accounts which are there, if you can see, and I need a line after that. So these are created as an account. Now this account which I created, it is only having one space, the first account which I created. Similarly, I've created these two additional accounts, and this second account is not one space, it's actually two spaces, not the one space. Okay, and the reason for having this, because I want to give a sequential order, and when I want to give a sequential order, the account number which I'm going to use, it cannot be same. The account name cannot be same, because account name is something for which I'm giving this sorting. Account number is account ID or account number are definitely different, but this account name, it cannot sort if on a different IDs or different places for or different order IDs if they are having the same name. So this one is double and this one is basically 3 spaces. That's how I managed it. So what I've done is, in the sequence when these accounts are coming, I created certain accounts which is having 1 space, 2 space or 3 spaces, and then in between these, the order is here is not important. The why I put it into this particular order, just for you to showcase that in this order I wanted to have my display, and that's why I am having this one. And then you can see this order ID sequential. Now this category order ID is the order ID for this sales, revenue and balance sheet and all those. So sales and revenue, operating cost, this is the category for which we are having these numbers. Okay, operating profit and all those. Now this display and display column is something which we are going to use in the next video when we talk about that double split display. So for this display, what we have done is, basically we created some additional account. Those accounts have been given IDs, additional IDs after our IDs are ending or before our IDs are start. So we are making sure that these IDs are not overlapping with our accounts. And then we have, importantly, what we have given is the order IDs. These order IDs are really important. And whenever we needed some space or some blank display, we actually have used the blank account. And every time we are using a blank account, it is increasing in terms of number of spaces it has. So if you need 5 or 10, you might have 1 with 1 space, 2 with 2 space and 3 space. Now, if you can have a better ordering, you can do it. If you have a combined ordering, basically this plus this can give me the unique account even with single space, you can do that. But here what I've done is I have given multiple spaces. So that's what my data is. Now this is my account table original, this is my GL, this is my PL account. These are the 3 tables which I'm going to use now into configuration, and I will try to build up this. Now to do that, we have to jump onto the Power BI, and in Power BI what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new file, and we'll try to replicate whatever we have done here into the new file. Now there are few steps which it would require. It's not going to be simple task, so we have to do each and every step of that. So in Power BI, let's get the data, get the Excel data. So I can cross this and I can directly click here on the Excel workbook, and P&L data is the data. And what I'll do is I'll also share this data on GitHub so that you can also practice this data. Now what all we need account table, we need GL entries, and we need PL account. Now don't compare it with the general ledger entry. I've just given the name. It is just the representation. It might not match with your exact account in the GL. The objective here is to how to prepare these kind of statement, not looking at the logic correction. Okay, now let it data load, and meanwhile let me explain you what's happening here in terms of the totals. So if you go here, this is the sum of these two. So the sales and revenue is sum of these two categories. Now operating cost is sum of COGS, general administrative expenses, R&D, interest expense and operating expenses. Now operating profit is nothing but the difference between the sales and the operating cost. Then I have these two costs which I'm subtracting again from the profit before tax, and then I'm having some tax number, and that tax number is I am again subtracting for profit after tax. Now somewhere you might have only what you call as proposed for tax, or separately you take it out for the tax. That could be the case, but here we are just keeping it really simple that we have to do certain additions. So we add here few accounts, we add here few accounts, we subtract 2 accounts here, we are again subtracting some more accounts from already existing calculation, and then we subtract few more things to get to the final number. So this is how we are achieving these numbers, and every year this same logic is repeating, and we need to create this logic again. Now that logic has to be created here, so we need to understand in terms of order ID or account number. Now I am having a unique order ID and I'm going to take advantage of that. If you don't have a unique order ID, then use account IDs. In my logic, I might end up using order IDs because I have that one also as unique. Okay. So now let's go to the Power BI. The tables are loaded. Let's look at what kind of relationship we need. So the relationship here, Power BI got confused. It created some inactive relationships. We are going to deal with those. So where should my GL should join? So GL should actually join to account and account should join to the PL account. This is how the join should happen. So I don't need this join. Basically, I can delete this. Now this join need to be active. This is going to be many to one, single directional, active join. Now the second join which I need is basically, I don't want it to, it could be one to one, but for to be on the safe side, I'm going to make it many to many, and I'm going to make it single directional. PL account is going to filter the account. This is how I want the direction. Okay. Now my setup is complete. My relationship, that account is one to many to GL and PL account to account. I ideally want one to many, but if I can't create one to many in extended dimension, we are happy creating many to many along with the filtering dimension from extended dimension to the actual dimension. That's where the filter should go. So now the configuration is ready. Time for us to create certain measures. So the first measure which we are going to create is, we need to have amount, and we also need to check if some data type have problem. So let me check the data type, category order, display order ID, all are numeric, and this is text. So I'm fine with this, and we can have a look at the data actually instead of just looking there. So these are numbers, these are everything, which is looking fine to me. Now my GL has only one thing which is having for which I need to create the measure. That's my amount, and I'm going to create a measure on the GL, and I'm going to say new measure, and I'm going to call it as PL amount. And PL amount is nothing but sum of PL amount, GL amount. So PL, profit and loss amount, is nothing but sum coming from the GL table. So GL amount is the sum, and I'm going to make a +0 here so that all the account comes in. Okay, now let's go ahead and create a matrix visual. And in the matrix visual, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in PL category. I'm going to bring in PL account, and I'm going to bring in this amount. Extended one. Then these number doesn't sound. Let me do the sorting on this. Now this sorting is not happening correctly. Why it is not happening correctly? Let's go here into the PL account. Where should this sort? This has a sort column which is order ID. Okay, so what it is saying, we can't sort order ID because there are more or one value ID having same column, and this is happening. So we now need to understand why this is not sorting when we have taken care of empty spaces and everything. For that, what we need to do is we need to create a new column and understand how Power BI is behaving in this case. So let's put a length column, and I'm calling it as len, and I'm going to use the len function also to get that. And when I use that len function on the account name column, which is known as account here, you will see that these three columns are having 0 len. So our space is only spaces dealing with that is not going to work out. You can use a pipe sign or something like that, but the challenge here is that in Power BI matrix, we do not have conditional formatting that can work on the rows. So if I'm using in rows, that pipe or that something will appear, and I'm not be able to do a conditional formatting based on the account name. I'll not be able to hide that. So that is why I wanted a white space. So what we are going to do is we are going to do a little bit of cheating. So for that, what we are going to do, let's first of all delete this column, and let's go back to our Excel sheet. Now, once we are in Excel sheet, let's select these three accounts which are having the empty rows. So these three having the empty rows, and let's delete them into the Excel, save this Excel. Now come back here, refresh the table, right click, refresh data. You don't have the accounts which are empty now. So click here on the account, sort by column, and you call it order ID. Now once you are done, now this allowed you the sorting of this one. Go to the PNL and also say category order as cat order. Now both are sorted correctly. Now if you go here, you will be able to see these accounts getting sorted correctly. Okay, now let's come back. Okay, so now these accounts are sorted correctly, but the totals are not there and the white spaces are not there. We're going to bring those white spaces again. So let's go back to the Excel, Control Z and save. Now you can do these things in Power Query by, first bringing in account and then adding those accounts. And the order ID is important. The way you are adding it in the table, the sequence in the table is not important. This order ID is important. Now you might have all these 4 rows below or above, that doesn't matter. So where these rows are placed, it doesn't matter. And now once we have this, now let's go back here and again right click and refresh. I could have done that in the date report view also, but just to showcase you what's happening here. Now we got it. We come here and now you see the spaces is also there. Now we are seeing a visible 0 here because we said +0 and we have to handle all those. And our comparison is basically happening with the other one where we have this kind of display. So we want this kind of display, and here right now we don't have. The font is bigger there, definitely. So now we need to bring in a formula to calculate, and to calculate this formula we need again the help from the Excel sheet, and we go to this sheet, basically the PL account only, and we have to remember what is getting summed up where. Okay, so once we remember that, we should be able to do the correct sum up. Okay, or we can take the help from the display number like 1 2 3 here, and then we can write down here 1 2 and let's drag it. They should be okay. We have certain spaces, so that's why. So that is why actually let's stay here. Okay, now we will bring in now this account total. This is number 3 and we need to bring in the total here of the PL amount. Now to do that, what we are going to do is we are going to create a new measure, and that's what we are going to call it as PL total, let's say. And here what we are going to do is we already have a measure, so let's say we start with switch true. Alt enter, few spaces, let's create. Now what is the first condition we want to check? Max of PL account ID. We want to deal with account ID or order ID. So I want to deal with order ID right now. If it doesn't work out, then I'm going to deal with the account ID. If it's 3, then calculate the PL amount, and the PL amount should be what it should be. It should be order ID again in 1, 2, isn't it? It should be 1, 2. Let's see, does it make any difference here? Now it's giving some error, syntax error. Switch true, max of PL account ID, the PL account ID, order ID in 1, 2. There's a parenthesis problem because we close the parenthesis here. Let's commit it. Now let's bring in this total here and see, is there any difference this one is making compared to, we are bringing it a wrong place. Click on the table, check this box. Now nothing is coming, don't worry about it. Let's correct this formula. So let's do a little bit of change here, and we'll say filter all. We say ignore everything on the PL account. So ignore everything on the PL account and then give us only these 2 IDs. So now we are getting total, but we also need to get whatever account is having the totals, they should also get correct total, isn't it? So we say rest of the places you give us the PL account. And again, we are missing in terms of parentheses. Let's correct those. So now this is the total which is coming in, and now because we have only 1 year of data, so at time if we see the 1 year of data, then we will be able to match it quickly. So let's bring in ear filter right away. So we bring in ear here, we make it as a slicer, and this slicer I go to the properties and I'll say okay, make this slicer as the first of all, let's make it as a list. And once we make it as a list, we will get the setting to make it horizontal slicer. Instead of vertical, I'm going to make it horizontal. Let me make it a little bit smaller. And now we got it. So let's click on this one. So this was 50 and 5,000, 55,000. This was the number. This number we are not interested in. Now what we are interested in, COGS, general expenses, all of them should add. So what all should add? Let's go back here and let's consider this one. So we are going to add 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 into 10. Okay. So let's add 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 into the 10. So very simple thing we are going to do here, and we can go and validate the formula in the other sheet which we have. Okay. So now let's go ahead and say 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These account you should add in the 10. Isn't it? So it is saying 51,500. Let's go and look at it. Are we getting 51,500 here? Yes, 51,500 here. So that seems correct. Okay. Now this is a subtraction of these two. Profit, operating profit should be the subtraction of these two. Now remember, we can't get in this formula these two calculations which you already done. So what we are going to do is find it is this minus this, and what is the account number? 11. So account number 11, it's continuing here. Remember this. So we press one more Alt Enter and we say okay, let's copy this statement completely. We are talking about account number 11, which is this minus this calculation and minus this calculation. Let's commit this and check it out. So we are doing step by step. Now 3,500 is the number we got. Let's go to the Excel sheet. Look at 3,500. Next two accounts we have to subtract. What are those account? Interest and operating other expenses is basically we already reached 11, 13 and 14 we have to subtract to get what? To get 15. So to get 15 we need to subtract 13 and 14 further, okay, from the same calculation. So we copy this calculation and we say okay, fine, just add 13 and 14 also here and give us the 15, isn't it? So we want 15, and 15 calculation is subtracting some additional from the first two only, isn't it? So we added that. Now we can see this is basically 3,500 which is getting subtracted from here. Okay, so we got this. So now we got this number. Now we got 2,700 also. Now this is 0, we are not interested in this. Now tax we have to again subtract. So to 1,250 we have to subtract again. Let's look at it. So 1,250 is going to be 17, and in the calculation of 18 it's going to be subtracted. Okay, so again this is the same calculation and Alt Enter. So 15 is got, 16 is space, 17 we want to subtract to get 18, isn't it? So we got 1450. Let's compare. Are we getting, no, sorry, 1450. Yes, 1250 minus this 1450. Now we got these numbers. Now definitely in this table I don't need a grand total, because that's not something which we are looking, even though we don't need it. At 1450 is the some number which is actually correct what I wanted, but I still don't want this number. Okay, so I don't want this number. So I click on this properties and I say, oh, I don't want to display the row totals. So this how it looks like. Now if we compare this one with this one, you see, first of all, let's look at the numbers. We have this 5,500, then we have this one 3,500, and this one. Now there is no coloring for, and then there is an additional measure. So we'll remove that additional measure first of all. So let's make it this additional measure. Now we have this additional measure. Now what's happening, we Total also we don't need, the column total also we don't need. So we got rid of that also. We got rid of the column total, and let's get rid of the amount. Okay. So we now only have the amount. Now what we need to do is we need to highlight certain things and hide certain font numbers. So I need to highlight these numbers which are there, and I also need to deal with the back colors. Okay. And the colors are basically, this need to be white, basically the background as the foreground, the background and the foreground, the background and the foreground. Okay. So it actually need to be only white in this case. So how to deal with that, let's learn about that. So now first of all, I need to make this as yellow and this background as yellow and this background as white. I'm going to need it as white because I can't check out what gray color or what position it is coming. So I'm going to make the background as also white and this one is also white. Okay. The font color also is white. So let's go ahead and create now color measures. Now to create color measures, I need these account numbers. And what I'm going to do is, let's quickly copy this. We do a little bit of magical things here. Now I'll say pk bg color, background color. Okay. And switch true. And let's say this comma 10, delete. Now comma 11, delete. This is how you can actually make sure that you are bringing everything. Now this might be a little bit, tedious way, but sometimes this can make sure that you are bringing in everything. 18. Okay. So now these are the accounts. In these accounts 3, these are my totals, isn't it? And all my totals, what kind of background I need? I need yellow background. Okay. And others I need white background, or I don't need the background. In fact, whatever is the background, let it be. So I say, okay, fine, let it be whatever it is, but let's do, if it is in, now this is 4. Now what are the empty ones? Let's look at the empty accounts. So empty account was 4, 12 and 16. So 4, 12 and 16 is the one which I want empty. So 4, 12 and 16, I want the background to be white, and I'm going to make sure that the front is also white. The comma is missing, and then let's leave it, rest of the stuff let's leave it whatever it is. So let's have the background color like this, and let's commit this, and let's try to use this. Now before we go, let's make the font color also. Now font color, does it going to make any difference? So font color is basically it's basically black, white, and then others is also going to be black, or other is going to be white. So whatever we are not handling is also going to be black, other. So now let's see if does it work out, or do we need any change in the logic. We can refer the older file which I already created to make sure that this is working for us. So now we go here and we go to the cell elements. In the cell elements, we have this background color. Now because we only have the one column, so there is no problem. You simply select this and it gives you this background coloring option. You click on the FX, you choose the field value, and we want to choose the background color. So BK color, let's choose it. So BK color. Now you see there are yellows and white, it was already white, but so it's not making any difference. But once, let's bring in the font color also. Now let's bring in font color. Now we go to the field value, we go to the color, PL font color, and let's look at that. Now you see that this is not there. Okay. So what's happening right now here is I'm not getting this one, and let's come back here. So we are only bringing an account. Let's bring in PL category also and expand this. Fine. So you have the categories. Now category is not showing any values. The value is only shown by these things, and we are having this one. So is it comparable with our other file? Let's look at it. There was a yellow color here, then 2 yellow color, and this one. I knowingly kept the font smaller here right now so that you can actually check it out. Now I want this table display now, which I'm unable to do till now. So let's duplicate this, and I was waiting this matrix to complete, and I'm going to duplicate this, make it a little bit bigger, and I'm going to call it as a table now. Now once I make it as a table, if you look there, it seems fine to have this one, but I'm not getting these names, isn't it? Now this requires a little bit of effort. The name is only appearing in the first account ID, isn't it? The first account ID is something where the name is appearing, and rest all our front ground is also black, white, and the background is also white. So the font color is white and the background color is also white here. I think this rule is fine. Account, we need a different rule. We basically, if the account is blank, then we can make it white. But right now, so what we need here is basically, we need a little bit of tweaking here. So we need a measure. Basically, the measure should tell us, let's say color, this is category. So what is color, what we are coloring in the category? So we are coloring in the category. Basically what we are saying here is, basically let's find out where underscore min, and min is basically minx all selected the PL account table, and the category PL category equals to the max PL category, is in the category available in the row, max PL category. We can use the category order also if required, and we forgot a filter here. So minx filter, now the filter has ended. Minx filter all selected PL account, where PL account is equal to max of PL account. That's how we are done. And then here we need to get what we need to get is account ID. So basically we need PL account ID. So we got a PL account ID. Now we need to write down our logic. Alt enter, return, alt enter, alt enter. If max of PL account PNL account ID equals to, we need to make sure that we are returning account ID equals to underscore min. Then what we want? Then we want the black color. Now the font is black and back, this is white. Okay. So color category font or color category. So color font of category, and similarly I need the background. In the case of the background, ideally it is both white actually. In the case of background, so I committed this. Let me create the background color. In the case of background, both are white. I could have simply written white, but let me write down logic here just for your reference. Both are white. Now let's go ahead and try this out on this table. Now what I'm going to do here is, I'm going to go here and let me do one thing. I go here and I click here. I already, I go here. Now what happens, this is beauty about table visual, that each and every field I can do conditional formatting. So I go here and on the first, which is my categorical variable, and I go and I choose the background color. Now category background color, I need BK category. Let's see what happens. So I choose the BK category, which is basically white and white. So, okay, I choose it for account. I have to choose it for here. So now you got all these as white. Now I go and do it for, again the same, but I go do it for font also. Now I go to the font, I say field value, and I go here and again search. This time I say color the category, and the color the category is white. Now you see the difference is coming. Now what I can do now, I have actually made it this one, but what you can do is basically this style is not the best for this kind of purpose. So you can click here and can go here and choose a better style suiting to this one in the visualization style, and we go here and we say minimal or we say none. Okay. Now for the font, what I do is basically every time when I do these such exercise, I never change any font manually. I go to the view, I go to the customize current theme, and in the text I go ahead and increase the size whatever I want. So let me make it 14, title as 16, card as 49, tab headers at 16. Okay, and see everything automatically get adjusted to what we want. We don't have to do. And now what we going to do, let's make it a little bit bigger. And here in this visual we can bring in year on the column. So we bring year on the column, and the year is right now filtered, so it's going to come the same one. But if I remove it, it's going to give me both of them side by side. So now let us see, is there something which is we are missing in this picture to this picture? To me, both the pictures are seeing same. A little bit of smaller font I use so that you can see more information here, but we got the similar picture. Now in another video we'll try to see how can we get these kind of pictures and all those. But now you know how extended dimension with additional members can help you in bringing these kind of structure. So it's really important that we go beyond. So sometime it happens like, it's not all about the standard star schema. It's all about the modeling to solve the problem. Now this is the same way we have done it, in some other problems also, when we have shown the grand total, when we use the others, the unselected values as others. So this same technique of extended dimension has helped us. So now you know that the various use cases which extended dimension can help you out. So go ahead and try that out, and do let me know what else you want me to cover in this particular series. Thanks for watching this video. Thank you. Keep watching, keep asking questions in comments, subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon so that you can get notification for new videos. Thank you.